And now it's time for the Bassmasters on TNN Outdoors.
When you think about legendary bass fishing waters around the country, what usually comes to mind are the lakes like Rabun, Okeechobee, and even Santee Cooper. But today we're going to what I think is one of the last great frontiers of untapped fishing holes left anywhere in our great nation, Lake Champlain at Burlington, Vermont. With the incredible popularity bass fishing has experienced in the past 30 years since I started the Bass Angler Sportsman Society, many of the lakes where you could catch over 100 bass a day have attracted increased fishing interest. Now, it's rare to find that undiscovered body of water that can still be considered a bass fishing frontier. Today on the Bassmasters, we're headed to just such a place for the Kmart Vermont Bassmaster Top 100 at Lake Champlain.
Oh, this is just, without a doubt, one of the finest fisheries in the world. And, now that we're here, I think we're really going to put it on the map. It's been, truly one of the sleepers. I've heard bits and pieces over the years about how great this lake really is. But, the thing is, when I'm out there fishing, I realize that I'm fishing for fish that I've never seen a lure. There's spots on this lake today that have never had anybody fishing. So there's great concentrations of fish out there.
What a fishing hole y'all got up here. My gosh, I knew it was going to be good. I didn't know it was going to be this good. Of all the bodies of water that we fished over the past, that I've fished over the past 10, 12 years, I've never seen anything like it. I've never been on a lake where you can sit in one spot and make the same cast for an hour straight and get a bite on every cast.
There's so many fish in here. I mean, it's just so good. Today I caught about 25, and it's the slowest day I've had out there. So, this is just typical of most of the northern Great Lakes fisheries up here.
From the largemouth and smallmouth to those northern critters like the walleye and the muskie and pike and even lake trout, Lake Champlain is full of fish, but finding the right spot holding the bass can be tough. Lake Champlain is over 110 miles long and has more than 300,000 surface acres of water. Pulling up to that right grass bed or rock pile that can hold great big concentrations of bass will be the key to winning this tournament. So let's get set to step back in time, as it were, and discover the incredible bass fishing potential awaiting Bassmasters at Lake Champlain. I'm Ray Scott. Stay tuned. The Bassmasters are coming right back.
Burlington, Vermont, on the shores of scenic Lake Champlain, the 6th largest natural inland waterway in the country. Over 110 miles long, running from Quebec, Canada southward to the Ticonderoga area. And one of the friendliest stops on the $5 million 1997-98 Bassmaster Tournament Trail. From maple syrup to picturesque mountains, even Ben & Jerry's famous ice cream, Vermont offers a unique New England flair not normally found on regular BASS tournament stops. But this area also boasts a secret mostly hidden under the brims of local anglers' hats. Lake Champlain is one of the best bass fisheries around, and one reason is a lack of fishing pressure. When the Kmart Bassmaster Tournament Trail pulled into town, these pros and their amateur partners knew the fishing would be good. What they didn't expect were nearly ideal smallmouth and largemouth fishing conditions. The time is mid-September. Temperatures are chilly in the morning, warming up to the mid-70s by weigh-in time. An early fall cool front has blown in, bringing high winds and cloudy skies for this first day of competition. But the smallmouth have caught fire. 1995 Bassmasters Classic champion Mark Davis grabs the early first-round lead with his 21-pound, 15-ounce 5-bass stringer anchored by the day's biggest bass, a 6-pound, 12-ounce largemouth. Cliff Craft from Sewanee, Georgia is only 1 pound, 3 ounces behind. 18-time BASS winner Roland Martin lurks in 3rd place with 19 pounds, 10 ounces. Chad Brower, the 24-year-old son of Super Pro Denny Brower, flipped his way into 4th and is in contention to capture his 2nd BASS Top 100 title. In all, the pros caught 90 limits of 5 bass each, weighing over 1,400 pounds. Tournament leader Mark Davis kicks off early this second morning with a topwater smallmouth. Mark is fishing an isolated area not far from Burlington Bay. He put yesterday's spinnerbait down and opted for a topwater Zara spook today, adapting to changing weather conditions.
This is the only little area right here that I'm fishing for largemouth. And I've just kind of played this place by ear, whatever the conditions have been. When it's windy, I threw a spinnerbait. Today, I figured topwater would have been good.
Cliff Craft in second place also hooks up early this second morning. Cliff is pitching a black and blue jig and craw combination around grass clumps in 8 to 10 feet of water.
It's kind of difficult to see this morning what I'm doing here. There's a line of milfoil, Eurasian milfoil, in about 8 to 10 feet of water, and then it drops off into about 15 or 20. And I'm just basically trying to pitch in the holes. Of course, this morning it's so dark I can't see anything yet. I'm just trying to follow the line with my depth finder, but as the day progresses and we get a little lighter, then I'll try to concentrate on fishing in the holes, dropping a jig down in there.
You'd almost think Florida's Roland Martin is on his home waters of Lake Okeechobee. But Roland found this grass bed the last practice day and is banking on it to give him a shot here in Vermont.
Well, they're small fish today. Well, I don't think they've started to bite yet. It's 10 o'clock, and I hadn't really been catching them until about 10:30. But it's definitely an afternoon bite.
Also flipping the reeds today is Chad Brower in fourth.
What I've basically been doing yesterday and today is moving real shallow, trying to avoid some of the traffic. There seems to be a lot of guys fishing out in the milfoil. I've tried to do the opposite and move within, as shallow as I could get, basically 2 foot or less, and fish as heavy a cover as I can, which is what I like to do.
There's more second day action from the Kmart Vermont Bassmaster Top 100 coming up. But first, it's time for Bass Mail, where you ask the pros for how-to answers. Joey Rudd of Parker's Prairie, Minnesota writes, how do you fish shallow water weeds? Is a Texas rig plastic worm or tube bait a good lure choice? Here's two-time world champion George Cochran with the answer.
Joey, I've got 4 of my favorite baits that I like to fish the weeds, okay? I'm gonna show you which ones they are. First, I've got a 3/8 ounce Strike King spinnerbait. You see the combination of the blades. I like the small willow leaf because it puts out a real good vibration, goes through the weeds real good. The next one I have is a worm that I like to use, and I fish this Texas style. You notice it's got a big fat tail. The reason I like that, when I flip it in the grass, it falls and it has a lot of tail action when it's falling, and it looks more like a shad or a brim, the powdered blue tail. The third one is a tube bait, and it's been real popular the last year or so. This one's bigger than the ones you usually buy in the store. You notice it's got a lot of salt in it, it's fat. I rig this Texas style, flip it in the weeds, it's real good too. And the fourth one that I like to use is the Strike King jig made by, or designed by Denny Breyer. I fish this with pork, like the razorback pork on the back. And this is a real good bait when the water's a little bit colder or when it's a cloudy day. And Joey, these are 4 of my favorite baits that I fish when I'm fishing the weeds. And remember, if you're using a Texas rig, don't peg the sinker and you'll catch more fish, Joey. And good luck, and I hope you catch a lot of fish.
If you have a question for the Bassmaster Tournament Trail Pros, write Bass Mail, 8600 Coppertown Lane, Box 404, Dallas, Texas, 75243. We may select your question to answer on the air. Roland Martin is still working his shallow water reed bed.
Thank you, sir.
Just as predicted, the late morning bite starts paying off.
That's what it's all about here, boys. Talking about a 4-pound bass now.
Tournament leader Mark Davis moved to his outside grass line, where he connects with a Carolina rig. Notice where Roland Martin hooked this bass. He's fishing a small pocket in the grass adjacent to a point. Now, these are key bass holding spots along reed beds. That's another solid 3-pounder for Roland. Now, back to Mark Davis.
What I've been doing, just culling and catching a lot of fish, and just, it's just a matter of catching some 4-pounders. You see me catch some 3-pounders there, and you got to get them 4-pounders to get that really big stringer. But I'll just try to catch, like I've been doing, 20, 25 bass a day, and I'll tell you what, win, lose, or draw, I'm having a lot of fun. Boy, they're mean. Them smallmouth are tough.
Almost forgotten in all this is 1993 Bassmasters Classic champion David Fritz. When Fritz is putting on the blitz, he's usually on center stage. Tied for 7th after yesterday, David's putting on another good show today.
I'm just fishing out the mouth of these bays, trying to figure out, you know, my pattern is fish moving in and out of these bays. They live in these bays most of the time, but they're starting to come out, the water's cooling off, and that's what I've been trying to concentrate on. Yeah, I've caught my 2 biggest ones this morning on a spinnerbait. Then I finished my limit on a worm, and then I picked up a crankbait and caught 2 or 3 of them. So I'm using a lot of different baits to catch these fish.
But Roland Martin is the story today.
Yeah, kind of help me with that one, if you would. Yes, that's a good one, boys. That's what it takes to win a tournament. Fish like that, boys. Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
And at the Day 2 weigh-in, it's not a question of who, just how much.
And he loaded again. 21 pounds, 13 ounces for the old man.
Thank you.
But that's an incredible take the lead if I ever saw one.
I'm a little nervous, Ray. I'm not used to this kind of stuff.
After 25 years, you're not used to this kind of stuff. What do you mean?
I've been on television and things like that for about 25 years, but you don't catch fish like that every day.
Never, never. What do you think about this fish, Rob? We asked the question yesterday. I think it's phenomenal.
It's better than that. I think it's going to be more than that. I might move up here. I'm looking for a place to...
What Roland did do was move up the leaderboard with a 2-day total of 41 pounds, 7 ounces. Cliff Craft hangs on to 2nd with an impressive 17-pound, 10-ounce limit. Mark Davis drops to 3rd. Jimmy Houston and Charlie Ingram are both throwing the same new type spinnerbait and jump into the top 5. Day 3 of the Kmart Vermont Bassmaster Top 100. And Roland Martin is back on the reed bed that's produced his 41-pound, 7-ounce leading stringer. But once again, Roland is in a waiting mode, hoping for that bigger bite as the morning goes on. But Oklahoma pro Jimmy Houston is catching bass early.
That's like a small one. Yeah. That's 3, but they're all small, and one of those is even a largemouth, and he's the biggest one of the bunch. Well, they're pretty even if they're little, though.
Fishing within sight of Houston and throwing the same Terminator spinnerbait is Tennessee pro Charlie Ingram.
I can see Jimmy Houston. He's fishing up there on a point pretty close to us here, and he and I both are fishing this Terminator spinnerbait with turtleback blades on it. And I think it really is helping as far as getting the number of strikes that we're getting is using that bait because it's got the titanium wire. Another thing it does, those deadgum pike will actually tear a normal spinnerbait all to pieces. And I've been able to fish with one of these just until one finally bites it off, you know. And they'll bite spider wire and super mono. They'll bite everything that you can throw at them. They'll just bite it in 2 sometimes. There's nothing you can do about it but retie another one on.
Oh, I'm fishing a Terminator titanium spinnerbait. And I've got small blades on here. I'm using little gold turtleback blades. That allows you to throw it real easily in the wind. Where I've been really catching most of my fish is around little clumps. There's grass, you know, there's thick grass everywhere, but there's little clumps in here. And as the sun gets up, you'll be able to see those clumps, and you can actually throw around them. And you know, before you got sun and when it's cloudy, you just have to just randomly throw over the grass, and you catch fish when you come by the clumps, even though you can't see the clumps. And that's really kind of the key, is having those little clumps of grass. It's kind of like little stumps, really. I mean, it's like a lot of little stumps around there. And those fish get down in those clumps. The Terminator comes by and terminates them.
I thought that was a pike, and I didn't even set the hook. Whoa, don't try to do that out there, Jimmy. Didn't even set the hook on that fish. I thought it was a pike. Not very big, but bigger than what I've been catching, didn't he? Quit complaining, Jimmy.
Tournament leader Roland Martin finally connects. The reed bite has been slower for Roland this morning, and if things don't pick up, he's going way out into open water to fish a submerged rock pile he's been saving as a backup. Georgia pro Johnny Lassane, in 9th place today, is also fishing a spinnerbait in the grass pattern.
All the fish are in this little clearing right in between the grass. They're not in and around the grass. They're in these clearings. That's where I've been keying on them all week. I shouldn't be saying that, because I know we'll be back up here next year. Get your head up out of there. I don't think he's much help, though.
You know, the titanium seems to be making a difference because it gives off a lot more vibration. I'm using a lot smaller blade than what my partners have started out using. And like today, I caught 8 or 9 fish before my non-boater caught any. And I told him, I said, you know, I got a lot of these Terminator spinnerbaits. He said, well, can I have one? And then I gave him one, and he started catching fish. And the same thing with my partner yesterday. I think I was calling before my partner yesterday caught one, and he finally ended up catching enough to be up in the top 25. And
so the final weigh-in of this Kmart Vermont Bassmaster Top 100 is gonna be a shootout. Jimmy Houston comes to the scales first.
Jimmy was in 4th place, folks. He's taken the lead with an incredible 17 pounds and 15 ounces. No, 14, 17, 14. Mark it. Boom.
Mark Davis makes a charge at the top, but falls just short with his 17-pound, 12-ounce final round stringer. Now, all eyes are on yesterday's leader, Roland Martin. 12 pounds, 13 ounces will put him back on top.
12, 13. Oh, there's your leader. There's your winner. 15 pounds and 8 ounces. The old man of the sea himself.
Oh, Todd. Man, I tell you what. I was just struggling all day long. My good pattern in the reeds, all those big fish I caught the first 2 days, I couldn't catch but little bitty pound-and-a-half fish. I caught 15 little pound-and-a-half fish in there. And I had one more spot I had not hit fish. There was a little bitty shoal with a rock pile on it. It was surrounded by milfoil. It was the only deep water spot I had.
Tell you what, folks, let's give him a great hand. Put the fish back in great shape, right back in the old tank.
So there you have it. Roland Martin holds the lead in a tight race this final day. Hold it. Wait a minute. Stop tape. Stop the music. Look at 1997 Bassmasters Classic champion Dion Hibden. He's coming in with a load. Yesterday, he was 7th.
21 pounds, 6 ounces. That might change things. That could change things. I'm telling you, somebody give me some stats, quick. Has he done this? Is he taking it for Roland? He needed 21.13, he had 21.6. The word I got is you didn't really have any expectation to win. You just relaxed and went fishing. Now, how close to the truth is that?
I've been pretty relaxed. I haven't got anything to lose this year. It's been a pretty fortunate year for me so far. I've already got the Classic made, and I fished a lake that I'd never seen another tournament boat in all week long. It's kind of characteristic to not catch them out of this particular pond where I was at, and there wasn't another tournament boat fished anywhere I wanted to fish all week long, and I just scrounged around and caught a few each day.
So even with that incredible last inning charge from Dion, Roland Martin captures his 19th BASS title and remains the undisputed all-time tournament trail title king with a 3-day total of 56 pounds, 15 ounces. Roland pulls in a total of $75,000 in cash and a fully rigged Ranger bass boat. Dion Hibden continues his hot streak this season with 2nd, followed by Mark Davis, Jimmy Houston, and Charlie Ingram. In all, over 2 tons of bass were weighed in, 4,248 pounds. Amazing for a lake that until now wasn't regarded as a major bass fishery. On the amateur side, Dan Harris from Tewksbury, Massachusetts takes the crown with a 3-day total of 43 pounds 2 ounces and also takes home a fully rigged Ranger. Time now for the Pros Pointer, the tournament champion's winning pattern. Brought to you by Wrangler Rugged Wear, geared for the outdoors.
Look how clear that water is on Lake Champlain. You know, all the other fishermen are using 8 and 10 pound line. Guess what I'm using? To win the tournament, I'm using 50-pound spotter wire because I'm flipping in heavy reeds. The reeds are real thick, and this spotter wire cuts the reeds out. I tried 20, tried 30-pound monofilament. It wouldn't get the fish out of the reeds. Now, I did that for the first 2 days, and I muscled them out of the reeds. And then today, I went to a rock pile. The reeds quit on me. The big fish wouldn't bite in the reeds, so I had one little backup spot I'd saved all week, used a little 3/16-ounce worm weight, and just camped on that spot for about an hour, caught my 16 pounds of fish, and won the tournament.